Hi, I'm Jeremy, and today I'm going to show you one of my favorite light family games, and that is called That's Life. And this game is also known in Germany as Verflixt, and there's some other international versions, but this is the English version. It was published by Ravensburger, I believe in 2005. It plays from 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up, in about 30 minutes, and it's a simple roll and move game where you're going to be moving a team of pawns across a path, hoping to collect the most points as you travel across that path. The catch being that in order to pick up a tile to score points, you have to be the last remaining player who moves off of it. So I'll take a minute to show you how it works, and then I'll come back and give you my thoughts on the game. This is a board setup for a 3-player game of That's Life, although this board is entirely modular and you could arrange these tiles in any configuration you see fit. On your turn, what you're going to do, let's just say I'm the red player, you'll simply roll a die and then you'll move your pawn, one of your pawns, at many spaces. So here, there's not much choice in the matter. All the pawns are on the same space. Now it'd be the yellow player's turn. They might move 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the green player, they also rolled a 5. So they would go here. Now go back to the red player. So it's a very simple roll and move game. Now, the red player, they've rolled a 3, they have a choice. So they can either move one of these pawns 3 spaces, or they can move this pawn 3 space. And they'd probably choose to do that, although maybe not. And now it would be yellow, so they could go 3. So let's just say they go here with that. And now it's green's turn, and they've got a 3, so they might choose to go here. And essentially players are going to go all the way until they get to here. You'll notice that these tiles here have values on them. So there's the red ones, which are going to be negative points. For example, this one's -5. There are green ones, which have positive points. So for example, this one's a +3. And then there are these lucky tiles. These have just a clover on them. There's no value assigned to them otherwise. And over the course of the game, let's see, it must be red's turn. Red goes again. If ever you leave a space and you're the only pawn on that space, so red would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you'll have to take that tile. So red would get this, which would be worth -8 points at the end of the game. That would also close off the gap, so you'd slide the tiles together, which just alters the route for the other pawns. So now, go back to yellow. So let's see, yellow rolled a 1. They might choose to move here. And since there was still the green pawn left on that tile, they would not need to take that tile. Then green could go, and they rolled a 1. They might choose to just move that pawn out. Now you'll notice here that red is on this space with this dummy pawn. These are called guards, so they're just little wooden cylinders. And any player on their turn, instead of moving their own pawn, it doesn't need to be red either, could choose to move this instead, and it would just move the number that they'd rolled on the dice, so 1, 2, 3. And that would be another thing that you could do on your turn. As long as any player is on a space with one of these guards, you can move the guard instead of moving one of your own pawns, and that would take your entire turn. So now it'd be, yellow, so yellow might go 1, 2, 3, 4, green, and now green's essentially going to have to take one of these pawns, so they might choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the game will just keep going like this. So that would take this out and change the route. So you'll always be sliding these together, reconfiguring the board. Green's got that. And now it'll be back to red. So now red, let's say they move here, they get one of these lucky tiles. And the way that these work is that these can be combined with these negative point tiles at the end of the game to turn this negative into a positive 8 points. So instead of -8, we get +8. So the game's just going to keep going like this, with all the players moving across the board, picking up tiles, until all players have moved all the way till the end. At that point, you'll simply look at whatever value of the tiles that you've got, and you'll add them up. So let's say this is what the red players collected. They would get 5 points plus 4 points, so 9 points. They would have these. They could assign this to any of the negative tiles they have, so they'd probably choose the highest value one. So that'd be 17 minus 4 is 13 points. The player with the most points at the end will be the winner. All right, so That's Life. And this is a really fun game that, people are always surprised at how much fun they have playing it, I find. It seems really ridiculously simple. You just roll a die and then move a pawn. But because you have multiple pawns, you're going to be faced with decisions. If you're on a negative point tile and you're the only person there, you might want to just hang out there hoping that somebody else comes along so you could then hop off it without having to take the tile. But sometimes taking those negative point tiles is great, as long as you could also get those lucky tiles, which will convert them to positive points. Overall, the game, for its length and for its simplicity of rules, it probably took me 2 minutes to explain those rules. It gives you a lot of decision making over the course of its 30 minutes or so of playing, and the game works well from 2 players all the way up to 6. I wouldn't say that it plays better or worse at any of those player counts. It plays well no matter what. If you have 5 or 6 players, you will get 2 pawns instead of 3 pawns. So that's the only caveat I would suppose in those higher player counts, but otherwise it plays very smoothly. The one thing that I'll note is that the game might be out of print in the US right now. You could import a copy because the game does not have any language dependent components and the rules are so simple. Or you could find a used copy. Also, though, there is this German mini game which is called Verflixt Compact, and maybe you could see that. And this is essentially like I said, it's a miniature version of it. It simply comes with 26 of those tiles, whereas I think this one comes with about 36. But otherwise, the rules are essentially the same. It's a shorter version. It takes probably about 20 minutes to play as opposed to 30 minutes because there's fewer tiles, but otherwise the rules are identical, and this is a very cheap version to acquire as long as you don't mind importing your games. I would say that you could probably get this for 10 euros or less. But That's Life itself is terrific, and it's well worth tracking down if you can find a copy. Either one I think is going to be entertaining for you, especially if you enjoy light family games. So those are my thoughts on That's Life, and thanks for watching.